Hi students, today I am going to discuss about regarding one of the important sense organ that is known as the eye. Clear? So today we are going to discuss regarding this sense organ that is the eye. Okay, this eye we will call it as a major sense organs in the human body. Clear? You are having different types of sense organs in the body. Among those, this eye will call it as a major sensory organ in the human body. Clear? See, this is mainly responsible for the vision. See, mainly if you see, this eye will be responsible for the vision, and next one is this will also useful for the color differentiation. Clear? See, that means how the colors are going to be differentiated here. Okay, that means different colors will be present. Okay, that different colors are going to be differentiated with the help of this eye. That means approximately 10 million colors. Clear? Approximately 10 million colors is going to be differentiated with the help of this sensory organ. Clear? See, this is the main two important functions regarding this eye. Clear? See, this will be useful for the vision and also for the color differentiations. Clear? Around 10 millions of the colors are going to be differentiated with the help of this eye. Clear? We'll see initially regarding what is the different structures of this eye. That means we'll see regarding the anatomy of this eye first. See, that means this eye will be divided into, that is, external structures as well as the internal structures. Okay, first we are going to be discussing regarding what are the external structures of the eye. Clear? First we are going to be discussing regarding these external structures. In that, the first one is known as cornea. Okay, this is the first important external structure regarding this eye. Is it clear? If you see this picture, see this part, you will call it as a cornea. Is it clear? The cornea, which is one of the external structure regarding this eye. Clear? See, and if you see this cornea, which is a transparent and dome shaped structure that is going to be spreads over the pupil. Clear? And if you see here, this is a dome shaped structure. Clear? And it is also a transparent structure. Okay, which is a transparent and dome shaped structure that is going to be covering this pupil. Clear? That you will call it as a cornea. Clear? See, mainly if you see this cornea again, which will be divided into different layers of the cells. Clear? See, again this cornea is going to be divided into different types of the cells. Okay, the first cells you will call it as a epithelium. Okay, the outermost layer of this cornea you will call it as a epithelium. See, that means if you see here like this, see, these are the epithelial cells, that is the outermost layer of this cornea, you will call it as a epithelial cells. Clear? See, next to the epithelial cells, so that means mainly these epithelium or the epithelial cells are going to be bathed in the tear film. Clear? That means this will be present in the tear film. Okay, what is this tear film? Okay, this tear film mainly it is going to be keeps the cornea moist. Clear? Always this tear film is going to be keeps this cornea moist. Okay, suppose if you see, this is a very tear film. Okay, this you will call it as a tear film. That means always these epithelial cells that will be bathed in this tear film. Okay, this you will call it as a tear film. Clear? And next one is, next to this epithelial cells you are having next layer, you will call it as a Bowman's layer. Okay, next layer you will call it as a Bowman's layer. Okay, this is the second layer of this cornea, you will call it as a Bowman's layer. Okay, this layer you will call it as a Bowman's layer. Clear? See, what is the use of this Bowman's layer? That means it is having the ability of the cornea to heal from the injury. See, suppose if there is any injury in case of this cornea, that is going to be healed with the help of this Bowman's layer. Is it clear? This Bowman's layer is going to be useful. That means heals from injury. Clear? And next one is the next layer, you will call it as a stroma. Okay, the third layer of this cornea, you will call it as a stroma. Okay, see, if you see this stroma, this is a very thick layer among all the layers of this cornea, and this thick layer mainly it is going to be provides the strength to the cornea, as well as it is going to be stabilize the shape of the cornea. Clear? See, mainly what happens, it is going to be providing the strength to the cornea, as well as which will be stabilizes the shape of the cornea. Clear? See, that means if you see this is a very thick part, you will call it as a stroma. Clear? See, this is the next to this Bowman's layer, you will call it as a stroma. See, this stroma is a very thick layer. It is going to be providing strength to the cornea, as well as it is going to be stabilize the shape of this cornea. Okay, and the next layer you will call it as Decimates membrane. Okay, that is Decimates membrane. Okay, next one is Decimates membrane. Okay, this you will call it as a Decimates membrane. Okay, what is the use of this Decimates membrane? See, this Decimates membrane which is going to be supporting the endothelium. See, that means below you are having the last final layer, you will call it as a endothelium. See, mainly this Decimates layer that is going to be supporting this endothelium, simply which is having the supporting functions. Clear? And the last layer you will call it as a endothelium. Okay, that is the endothelium. This regulates the water content of the stroma. Mainly this will be useful to regulate the water content. Clear? It regulates the water content mainly in case of the stroma. See, because of that what happens, because of regulating this water content in the stroma, always the cornea will be clear. Clear? See, because of that what happens, always to keep the cornea clear. See, because of regulating this water content. Okay, this is all regarding the first structure, you will call it as a cornea. Is it clear? See, the cornea, this you will call it as a transparent as well as dome shaped structure that is going to be covering the pupil. Okay, and if you see, which is mainly divided into 5 different layers. Okay, the first one is the epithelium, which will be made up of the different, that is epithelial cells. See, this is going to be bathed in the tear film. Okay, this tear film that is going to be mainly useful, okay, to keep the cornea always moist, as well as which also provides the cornea with the nutrients. Clear? See, the cornea, for the proper functioning of the cornea, it should have the proper nutrients. Clear? That is also provided by this tear film. Okay, the next beneath to this epithelial cells, we are having the next layer, you will call it as a Bowman's layer, that will be useful, that is from heals from the injury. That means if there is any injury in the cornea, that is going to be immediately healed with the help of this Bowman's layer. Okay, next one is the stroma. Okay, this stroma is a very thick layer that is present below this Bowman's layer, which is going to be provides the strength to the cornea, and also it is going to be stabilizes the shape of the cornea. Okay, next one is Decimates membrane, which is simply having the supporting functions, which is going to be supporting the endothelium that will be present beneath this Decimates membrane. Okay, the last layer you will call it as a endothelium. This is going to be mainly useful to regulate the water content of this stroma, so that what happens, always the cornea will be very clear. Okay, this is regarding the first external structure, that is regarding the cornea. Okay, next we are going to be discussed regarding the next structure, you will call it as a sclera. Okay, the next external structure we are going to be discussed is the sclera. Okay, and if you see this sclera, this it is called it as a tough and thick white sheath that protects the inner parts of the eye. Clear? See here you will call it as this part, you will call it as a sclera. Clear? See the same that is present here, the dome shaped part, you will call it as a cornea, but the same that is going to be protecting the internal structures. Okay, this sclera which is going to be protecting the internal structures. Clear? It is going to be protecting the internal structures. Clear? See, then it is also called it as white of the eye. Okay, it is also called it as a white of the eye. Is it clear? See, this is regarding the sclera. See, this sclera which is going to be a very tough and thick white sheath. Clear? The sclera is very thick and it is a white sheath that is going to be protects the internal structures of the eye. So you will also call it as a white of the eye. Okay, and the next structure you will call it as a conjunctiva. Okay, the next structure is conjunctiva. We'll see what is this conjunctiva here. See, this conjunctiva, it is a transparent, clear, thin transparent membrane that is going to be spreads across the sclera. See, that means, see this green color, clear? See this green color part on the top of this cornea. Okay, this you will call it as a conjunctiva. Okay, this conjunctiva, it is a thin transparent membrane that is spreads across the sclera. Is it clear? That means if you see this is a sclera, across that sclera this conjunctiva is going to be spreads. See, because of this conjunctiva which is going to be keeps the eye moist and clearly. Okay, which is going to be always keeps the eyes moist and also keeps the eye clear. Why? Because by secreting small amount of mucus and tears. Okay, it is going to be secreting the mucus and tears. See, because of secreting the small amount of mucus and tears, this is going to be always keeps the eyes moist and clear. Is it clear? You remember this conjunctiva which is a thin transparent membrane that is going to be spreads across the sclera. You will call it as a conjunctiva. Okay, and the next part of the external structure you will call it as a iris. Okay, next part is iris. Okay, what is this iris? Which is a pigment part of the eye and it is a muscular curtain that opens and closes. That means to regulate the amount of light entering the eye through the pupil. Is it clear? See, if you see here this iris, this you will call it as a iris. Okay, this iris you will call it as like a shutters in the camera. Clear? In the camera if you see how the shutters is going to be working, in the same way here the iris is also functioning like a shutters in the eye. Clear? See, this iris is a pigmented part of the eye. Okay, this iris you will call it as a pigmented part of the eye and this will be a muscular curtain. Okay, this you will also call it as a muscular curtain that opens and closes to regulate the amount of light that is going to be entering through the pupil. Is it clear? See, this you will call it as a iris. Is it clear? What is this iris? This iris you will call it as a pigmented part. Clear? See, and we will also call it as a muscular curtain that opens and closes to regulate the amount of light that is going to be entering the eye. Okay, this is regarding the next part, that is the iris. Okay, next one is we'll see regarding the next external structure that we will call it as a pupil. Okay, the next structure you will call it as a